Okay, this is Mary with Bundy Data, and I've worked on that for 6 or 7 years. And I told you that me and Debbie went to summer band. She took flute, I took clarinet. We walked up there from Aldington, and it's about a mile, mile and a quarter up to Jeb Stewart. We went to summer band. Apparently, sometime during the break is when she met Bundy. She was dressed for summertime with a peasant top, white sienna hair and a bob, cut off Hager Wrangler jeans that she had frayed, and maybe Huaraches or flat leather sandals, which were apparently cutting into her toe. She stops at the bleachers in front of the school. I'm wanting to go home because now, after reading every bit of that little old diary, my people were going out of town to Daytona. That meant my father split his vacation into 2 weeks, one in June, and then in August, when his family came to visit, he took a few more days. That's probably because the war in Vietnam was escalating and they had things to do at the Naval Air Station. So the normal 2 week vacation might have been out of scope. Anyway, I was wearing my brother's Gant shirt and cut off pedal pushers that I had frayed at the knees. It didn't look very good. You've seen the picture. I got a shirt in Daytona. There's reasons that I figured it out. I wanted to go home. Debbie stopped at the bleachers and facing the school. I said, I'll try to catch us a ride. I think I said it something like that. Hitchhike, I guess. Went across the street, had my thumb out. My hopes was that some of the older boys, like Craig Fagan, Greg Powers, Stanley Parker, Paul Howard, would come, because that had been a high school the year before. That had been a high school the year before, so it was now, or a year or two before. It had a body shop for cars, or body shop or a small engine repair. It also had basketball courts. So it's theoretically possible that a 15, 16, or 17-year-old boy might come up to that school that we knew and could give us a lift home, or maybe one of the parents went by. I thought I saw Mrs. Mock. She was very stern. Okay, let's go to my neighborhood. I'm on Altland. Diagonally behind us is the Mocks, Cheryl, Carol, Sylvia. Sylvia was taking clarinet also, but she was walking alone. After the event, and Debbie says, don't say anything to anybody. Let's keep it secret. Don't do anything. Move on. He pulled the gun. He said his name was Theodore Bundy. I said, your name is Bundy like my clarinet, and your gun is silver like Debbie's flute. Debbie's father's an admiral. He let us out. He was 20 years, 7 months. I'm out of town for 8 or 9 days before I go back to summer band. I basically missed the entire week. I wasn't all that enthralled with it. I think I learned to play one song on that clarinet, whereas Sylvia went on to become a band person in high school and was in the band, blah, blah, blah. I think she ended up going to Ed White. Maybe that's where Debbie went in the last year of school, because they had a Ed White opened up instead of Forrest. Anyway, I'm trying to speed this along because it's irritating. Sylvia was approached 2 times there's no hills in Jacksonville, but if you follow Wesconet along, there is a creek called Butcher Creek. There's only one sidewalk. To the other side of the school is a cow pasture. Wasn't Amazon, wasn't Kmart. Kmart didn't come till 68. I've already told you about the cow pasture. That's where he pulled the gun. The revolver. Sylvia's walking down that sidewalk. I assume that Debbie rode with her sister Vicky, or skipped a day, or rode with Vicky because of the incident that happened to us. So he had nobody to approach. Now, ours was June 5th approximately. Then this would take him into the next week, and he's running short of time because he has to be at Stanford on the 24th. It takes about 3 or 4 days to go cross country. Why he was here in the red Volkswagen, I don't know. Sylvia doesn't remember the car. And now, the reason I suspect it's Bundy, Sylvia was walking alone on that sidewalk. Wesconet dips at a point where that creek is. It dips, and there's a guardrail, basically. It drops down 9 to 15 feet, so you can't hop over the guardrail and go splashing under that culvert, which is concrete down there. And it's very, very wooded. There was no bank. There was no convenience store. There was a road called Ford or Floyd Road, or Ford Road. She told her mother, which is the wise thing to do, which is what I wanted to do. She told her mother about a man that kept asking her for a ride. He said, would you like a ride? And he was kind of a weirdo. And that's at the deepest, darkest point. On the far side is the end of the cow pasture and just a dirty creek overgrown with trees, okay? If you were going to have the most isolated place, which isn't very isolated, but it was Wesconet, it dips down and it's wooded, and there's a forward road. Well, Ann Mock from Georgia, she parked the car on Ford Road and told Sylvia to go on walking. And sure enough, the guy came again. They rushed. She was behind. Mrs. Mock stood behind the trees to see it happen. She called Sylvia back. They get in the car. They followed the car to a furniture store, which I don't remember, was 103rd and West Gannett. And she confronted him. I don't know if anything else happened. She confronted him. And the Mock family is very prominent in Jacksonville. And they lived across on Aldington. They, on the other hand, lived diagonally across from Vicki, Jeannie, and Debbie. Debbie and Vicki, I believe, went into nursing. Cheryl and Carol went into nursing. Sylvia went into teaching. I went into IRS. So this is new. We have additional confirmations, Miss McKisney. We have additional confirmation. I mean, what the hell else can I do? It took me years to figure out that I went to Daytona that very weekend. That's why I wanted to go. All right. Thank you. So this is 1967. And another thing is that stirs me. We're diagonally across Mary. Behind my house is Sylvia. Across the street from Sylvia is Debbie. 1, 2, 3. If you go to Tacoma and Jacksonville, it's a straight. It goes, I mean, you can't go straight like that, but if you draw a line as far as you can get from Tacoma and still be, like like they say, still be in the United States, that's Jacksonville. All right. I don't know why. I don't know how. But thank God Almighty, Mr. Deckel, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Simpson. I have a little bit of stuff. Now we have a third party who is not a reluctant witness like the Hogues are. And there's things, the reason I began to separate away from Debbie, going to the bar area of the bowling alley that we weren't supposed to be in. What was she doing over there? She made a beeline to where the older guys were drinking. We were about 14 or 15 at that time. And I'm thinking, well, first of all, why are we going to the bowling alley? Second of all, the bicycle trip to Riviera Apartments, why were we there with a 3-page letter writing on landing on bicycles and the guy with the wheel hanging from the ceiling with kitchen utensils? That wasn't a thing. And I remember getting real. I kept thinking, my bike's downstairs. I need to get out of here. He wouldn't let me open the refrigerator. I just wanted some ice water. And thirdly, sending me to meet Kim Sparks, and she's had marijuana. I don't want to smoke marijuana. First of all, when we left the roller rink that time and we were crossing over to meet somebody, I didn't know we were meeting somebody. I didn't know we were meeting some dude at Riviera Apartments. There were things that happened. I said, this is just Debbie getting on a motorcycle. She didn't know how to ride, didn't know how to stop. If the yards hadn't had little hills, she wouldn't have been able to stop that motorcycle. She was acting a little wild. You got to admit it. And I said, no, this isn't for me. Okay, Theodore Bundy, 20 years, 7 months. It was him. I seen the transformation. I smelt the smells. I seen the eyebrows. I seen the face. All I knew was black eyes. Black, soulless eyes. I'm beginning to think he might have bipolar, because bipolar people do things like this. Debbie's mother was bipolar. She was manic depressant. All right, thank you. Fact.